Welcome into the Michigan State Hockey Hub. We're going to be doing a recap of a big weekend, and I brought on my friend Ryan Radosevich for the recap. Ryan, how are you doing?
Doing fantastic. Glad to hop back on the pod now second time. I'm glad to be back this season, and we got a lot of good hockey to talk about.
Absolutely. And if you don't know, Michigan State just finished a sweep against Wisconsin, a big series, and we talked about this. I did with Todd Molesky, who came on. He writes and covers for the Wisconsin hockey team, and we were saying, these are two teams near the bottom of the rankings. That's probably where they're finished this year. For Michigan State, like, we're just looking for improvement in year one under the new coach. Well, sweeping Wisconsin is not something that typically happens. I think they swept Wisconsin last year around this time too.
They did at home early in the season. Yeah.
Right, but this team's looking different. We'll get to that. We'll just go ahead. Before we jump in, I want you all to know about Ryan and his podcast and his team that they have over there with Behind the Mask. You see at the top of the screen, if you're watching on YouTube, what it looks like on Spotify. If you're listening on Spotify, go ahead, type in Behind the Mask on Impact 89 FM, and you can find it. Go ahead, subscribe there, give them a 5-star. I completed my 5-star review yesterday.
Thank you.
So you all, it was your first review.
Yes.
So we got 1 for 1, 5-star podcast.
Go.
Ryan, tell us a little bit about it and who does the podcast with you.
So, of course, Behind the Mask Hockey Podcast, we primarily focus on MSU hockey, but we go around the Big Ten a decent bit, and then we visit some other conferences, but not too much. But it's me, and we got a double Jacobs. We got Jacob Phillips and Jacob Stinson, senior year at MSU for Stinson and senior year at MSU for Phillips as well. I call them Stincy and Phillips just to, divert, because I'm not going to say Jacob for both of their names, but we cover, all things MSU. We do one episode a week. We recap what happens the weekend prior, and we give a preview to what's going on the next game. So it's a lot of fun. We have some fun at the end, a little pick'em segment, trying to predict what's going to happen. And I'm not doing too good. Maybe a little bit of a comeback this week, but it's a lot of fun. We're trying to make it more inclusive and more fun and entertaining to listen to every episode. So it's a subscription to whatever platform you could find it on would be great, and rating it would be even better. So I appreciate. I didn't know you were going to do that, so I appreciate the plug.
I listen all the time, and if anyone likes the content I make, they even go more in depth. You'll have a little bit longer segments, which for someone like me that listens to hours of podcasts a day, I'm always trying to fill it with something. So it's definitely in my rotation. You all do a great job. Just wanted to shout you all out. Here are the Twitter handles as well. You can pause the screen to see that. But as we jump into game one was incredible. 5-0 Friday night victory. And I was saying coming into the series, and I don't know if you all touched on this on Behind the Mask or not, that the all-time record was 61-61 in some amount of ties. So Michigan State up 2 games now. Friday night was the game that bumped them in the all-time win. 44 saves for Dylan St. Cyr, his first shutout as a Spartan, and 4 goals for ERIK Middendorf. And if anyone's listened to the podcast, you understand how many times I've said, look how good this team's doing, and Middendorf, Davidson, and Tucker aren't even necessarily carrying the team like we saw at times last year. Middendorf, humongous game. He needed to get that monkey off of his back.
Yes. Yeah, and with Middendorf, I actually he's one of my favorite players on MSU. He's some guy I look at to be a goal scorer, to be a leader on the team. So when he got off to the slow start, I think only 1 point in 8 games coming into this one, I was kind of looking at it with a question mark. So I actually took a little deep dive into him. I looked at like how many shots he was getting, a little bit of ice time, but I kind of really find too much. And I saw that last year and this year were kind of the same slow start. He had a slow start last year, so I wasn't too concerned. But to see him come out with 4 goals, and some of them pretty beautiful, it was just, get the monkey off his back. And now he's back in the goal scoring column, and it's definitely good to see Middendorf get some goals, because he's put in the work, he's put in the effort, hasn't got one before this series, and 4 goals in 1 game. I mean, it was crazy. It was a fun game to experience, that's for sure.
Yeah, and if you're watching on YouTube now, you'll see all of the goals. And let me back it up to the first goal here First goal was just kind of he did a little bit of a 360 and found the puck just right in front of the net. Easy, put it back in. The second goal, Basgul gets it off the boards, heads up play to keep his eyes up. Perfect pass. I mean, look where he receives that pass.
Multiple people could have got that goal there, by the way, not just Middendorf too.
Yeah, buries it. That's goal number 2. Goal number 3 was just a slap shot here on the power play from the dot. He's playing with confidence at that point. You know what I mean? Like that's a big time shot. And the fourth goal was probably my favorite. It's just like a rebound out in front, and when it's going good, it's going good.
Yeah,
he kind of, I can't really tell, but it's like he kind of, I think it hit off somebody or something. It just kind of flips up in the air, kind of lazily, and just kind of falls over the back of the goaltender. So incredible game from ERIK Middendorf. The other goal in that game was Tanner Kelly. And this is a play that I want to watch a few times here. Last year on the podcast, I kept saying Tanner Kelly has more offense. He has more offense. You can just see it. And it was this close to breaking through. Well, it started to break through the big weekend. What did you see in this goal that stood out to you? Let me play it again.
I mean, it's the line of Dorwart, Kelly, and Joshua. Something that when I looked at the first line sheet for the Bowling Green series, I was like, okay, you know, that's a line. I really didn't give much thought into it. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, two younger guys with an older guy. It seems like, you know, usually in college hockey that happens, but this line has been a revelation for MSU. You look at the line last year of Davidson, Middendorf, and Tucker, and you think that they're going to be the ones stepping forward to this team. No, it's this line. It's Jagger, Joshua, Dorwart, and Kelly. And I think they just complement each other very well. And I mean, you look at this, Jagger Joshua with the delay gets the lane he wants to, and then Kelly doesn't rush it. He pulls off a beautiful move, gets the goalie on his heels, and then just gets it into the open net on the far side. Kelly and Dorwart are playing with so much veteran poise, but they're freshmen. It's weird to see, but it's great to see. And for MSU, they need people to step up this year. It's more of a transition year, and there's freshmen that are stepping up clearly.
Yeah, and I've always was a little bit critical of Joshua's game. I think he's looked great this year. And this play right here in particular, where I have it paused, in the past, Joshua held onto the puck way too long almost all the time, and he turned it over quite a bit. He's patient here, waits until the defense hits the ice to try to block the pass, and then he uses finesse, something that we don't say often with Jagger Joshua. He's usually throwing his body around. Uses finesse right here to kind of bend his stick around and drag it across to deliver the perfect pass. Kelly ready to put it in the back of the net most of the time. And I hate to make a blanket statement about all Michigan State players, but it feels like most of the time that would have been just a little like, I'm just going to tap it in. And it would have been blocked. Jared Moe, Friday night's goalie for Wisconsin, was in good position to block it here. Kelly goes forehand to backhand and elevates the puck. That's the skill that I saw last year that said, whoa, this kid's going to turn into some offense. And we've seen it with the penalty shot that he had in the beginning of the year. We saw it against Notre Dame with the overtime shot. What the shootout goal. I don't know what happened there. I just couldn't think of the word, but just an absolutely incredible performance. Now, Dylan St. Cyr, 44 saves. I mean, him and Middendorf are both tied for player of the game in my mind.
Yes.
I mean, 44 shots is a ton of shots, and Michigan State gave up a lot of shots in this series. The entire series, 44 shots again on Saturday night. So a little bit weary there, a little bit of a why are we allowing that many shots? The result worked out in the end.
Yeah, and some of those shots too, it's basically because of the power play time that MSU gave up. They committed a lot of penalties. I think 5-minute majors in both games, and more than 20 minutes of power play or penalty kill time in both of the games. So that's where Wisconsin got most of their shots. You see 44 shots and you go like, oh, Wisconsin probably dominated the game. No, they really didn't. They got, I wish I was counting specifically, but they got what seemed to be at least half their shots on the power play time. So you look at 44 shots both of the games, but there's kind of a little bit of a story underneath that. And also, I was actually saying Kelly was on the line with Joshua and Dorwart. I meant Russell. My bad. Kelly was just out there on the ice with Joshua.
Yeah.
So a little hiccup.
Kelly, a
My bad there.
sophomore. Russell, a freshman. Both have really blossomed. Kelly especially. Russell, I mean, I can't really say he's blossomed because he's a freshman. So, yeah, we don't really know what he would have been. But all right, moving on to game 2. 5-1. So Spartans score 5 on back-to-back nights. Huge. Not a type of thing. I would love to know when was the last time Michigan State scored 5 or more goals on both games during a set.
That's I might go and dig down into the trenches after this pod to find that out, because I always like tweeting out little random stats, little tidbits.
Figure that out.
Yeah, I might do that if I got some time.
Oh yeah. So we are leaving you on the edge of your seat waiting for that stat, everybody. But Spartans complete the sweep, almost another shutout. And I'll talk about St. Cyr more as we get towards the end of it, but wanted to roll through the goals here. As here's the first one, the captain getting in on the action. It was pretty early in the game. I don't remember the exact timestamp. I wonder if you can see it on the screen here. You can't. I did a poor job editing that, but Miroslav Muka, and this is really a great play also by Nash and Ehouse, just getting the puck to the net, getting it through the defense there, and a little cleanup goal made it 1-0. Miroslav's playing well. I like the way that he uses his body. Like, he's one of those players oftentimes where the puck's down behind the net or up on the boards, and he's going to win a lot of those battles. He's positioning himself well and starting to score a little bit too. What have you thought about the captain's game so far?
So I got to be a little critical. I got to meet Miro. He's a super nice guy and everything, but I'll say the first 3 series, he didn't really find his game too well.
Yeah.
You could see that the passes were on his stick and he would lose them. His passes to other teammates were just a little too soft, but now I finally think he's getting into his groove. And if you're a captain and you're not playing the best of games, that may hinder your team a little bit. But now I think he's finally getting into his game. He's getting into the system, coming over from like Superior State. This is his first year. Obviously, new coaching staff and everything. There's going to be some transition time for players, but I think he's finally getting into his game, and you're going to see a lot more points from him. Because going into the season, when MSU landed him from the transfer portal, I was like, oh, like that's an eye-opening transfer portal splash there. So I think he was slow off the start, but now he's finally kind of getting his game, and you're going to see more points from him in the season for sure.
And we've talked about Jagger Joshua a little bit. Here's another example of just the improved offense he's shown in his game. He always gets in front of the net, right? That's kind of where he hangs out. Goes straight in front of the goalie here, come off to the side, rebound, and just puts it in. It's not the most impressive goal you've ever seen. It's probably a lot of luck to that. Michigan State jumps up 2-0 early in the game, and they just kept putting their foot on the pedal. But what you see here is a career high in goals already, 10 games in. And it was he's a senior now. He's a senior, right?
Yeah.
It was his sophomore year when he had, I believe it was 4 goals, which was a career high before this.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit more offense. He's really just getting him better opportunities, I would think. He did have that hat trick game as well earlier this year, but that was the second goal of the game. We'll go ahead and jump in to the third goal because it's one of my favorite players, Tanner Kelly, once again showing
another highlight reel-esque
what
goal.
he has. I mean, I'm just going to keep playing this. So what he does here is actually he kind of chips it towards or to the goalie, and they switch goalies for Saturday night. I don't remember his last name, McClellan, I think, or McCarron or something. Kind of the reserve goalie was a transfer in, and he gets his own rebound here, and just the amount of confidence he's playing with is really obvious. Like, he sees this and says, okay, I'm going to take this right behind and instead of, I feel like in the past that would be go beyond the net, look for somebody else in front of the net. Tanner Kelly has the scoring touch right now. He takes it, goes around, wraps around goal. Absolutely beautiful.
There's one other thing with Kelly. He had that defenseman draped all over his back. At any point, that defenseman could have probably got his stick in there to just thwart the play in general. But you could see Kelly. He actually makes a beautiful deke move to get the goalie to close his legs to get him out of position, and that's how he gets the wraparound. He does all that in like 1.5 seconds. Yeah, right here with the deke, closes the goalie's legs, makes him face him, and then goes around the net. Just pure quick. You could it looks like it bounces off of him, but it's just quick. That's something you can't really teach with hockey players. Like you can't teach somebody to have a quick reaction time, to have the quickest hands. You could teach the skills, but you can't really teach that. And if Tanner Kelly is showing that live in game and he's doing that with a defenseman draped on his back, that's huge for MSU, and it's good to see him get a couple goals this weekend.
And Dylan St. Cyr, who we've talked about, this was his big stop of the night. I mean, what you see here is, I believe this was the second period, and Wisconsin has a goal. It is now 3-1. You know, they've in the second period all year for Michigan State, just as it was last year. They just sleepwalk through the second period half the time, and I don't understand why. They cannot afford to do that against Ohio State this upcoming week, against Michigan, Minnesota, Penn State either, who's really looking great. And it's something they'll have to clean up. But this stop here was just incredible. It's a similar position that we saw with Jagger Joshua and Tanner Kelly on Friday night, where it's kind of a 2-on-1. They make the pass. Of course, defenseman, I can't tell who that is, commits to one side. Here comes the pass. The back check wasn't quite there. And you have to slide across your crease. He gets down, reads the puck well, and is able to make the huge stop. What have you seen from Dylan St. Cyr so far this season?
So, couple things. Being a goalie, I wasn't a goalie for long, so I can't get too in depth. I wish I stuck to it. But two things. He is just pure, like his technical game is amazing. He faces the puck well. It's kind of, if I had to compare an NHL goalie, it's kind of Carey Price. Carey Price is always in the right spot at the right time, so he never really has to make the flashy save. This, on the other hand, kind of a little flashy save. But the other thing is, this is an insanely hard save to make because you mentioned it's basically 1-on-2. You got the MSU defender trailing him. He's not really part of the play. So when the pass is made to the near side, Dylan St. Cyr has to slide across to, acknowledge the guy with the puck. At that point, he has both of his leg pads down on the ice. He can't put his skate into the ice to stop him. He has that momentum sliding to the near side to where the puck is. He can't stop himself at all. So the fact that he somehow stretched his left leg out, and him being 5'8", stretching that left leg out and getting that save, it's absolutely huge. It's one of the more flashier saves you've seen by Dylan St. Cyr, and I'm assuming that's why you put it in there. But he's a amazing technical goalie. I've never seen him out of position, and that's probably why he's been getting all the starts, because Nightingale sees like, hey, like I got a technical goalie that I could rely on 24/7. Charleston, a little bit more of the flashier side. I think he's a good mix of flashy and technical, but Dylan St. Cyr, I didn't think he would be the number one goalie. I actually thought it was Charleston going into the season, but he has taken that helm and ran with it, and he has looked good doing it too. I mean, this weekend, 88 shots faced, 87 saves. That does not happen often in hockey at all.
Yeah, he's looked great, and he gives you a chance to win every night, it seems like. The experience that he has is really key, and I think it was just such a great addition. I mean, having a number one goalie is something that with the amount of goalies that go into the portal, they are available. But a place like Michigan State, where they've been recently, wouldn't scream, I want to go there. But a Michigan kid, I'm really glad that he's in the green and white. Let's go ahead and look at the next goal here. And this is when you just know everything's going your way. I mean, Michigan State, there's 15 seconds left in the period. It's Cole KRYIGER, not a goal scorer, coming down the left side here, and just kind of like I couldn't really tell in real time what happened. And the replays are always kind of hit or miss with Big Ten Plus. Like, you don't really know what you're going to get. But great separation, controls the puck, and like he was trying to center the puck to the player in the middle here. Who is that? It looks like Carson Dord, I believe.
Yep, that's
And I guess, did it hit off the defenseman's skate or did it hit off? I can't really tell what happened, but it squeaked in.
yeah.
Um,
Luckily, Impact had some eyes at that game. It did bounce off the defenseman. I'm not sure. I think it was his skate. I think that's what I was told. But
yeah,
yeah, for Cole KRYIGER, I mean, something that I'm going to take this real quick. Cole and Christian KRYIGER, their offensive game has taken a huge step this year. They're so
absolutely.
confident carrying it over that blue line. They do this all the time. So the fact that, I mean, Cole KRYIGER alone on the far side, he skates it over that blue line, gets it behind the net, and just throws it on net. It goes in, it's a goal. You don't see him doing that 2 years ago. You don't see him or
No.
Christian doing that at all. And Christian, unfortunately, he missed this game. He's injured from the second game against Notre Dame. But both of them have taken leaps and bounds in their offensive game, and it shows. And I mean, just throwing the puck, he's trying to find Dorward there, but throws the puck off the defenseman and it goes in. You'll take those. But their offensive game has been looking really good this year. So that's
And I
a
just
good thing
want
to
to
see out the Kriegers.
highlight, keep your eyes on Cole KRYIGER the whole time. And he's just as surprised as us that it goes in. He was kind of looking around for a second, like, wait, they're going.
Yeah.
But about them, right after the season, a couple defensemen graduate, transfer, go pro, whatever it may be. At one point, it was like this blue line doesn't have enough players to field the team.
Yeah.
And it looked like it was going to be a humongous issue. KRYIGER twins both come back, and they've both been better. And it's an experienced blue line now. I mean, David Gucciardi's young. He's only a sophomore, but he's played in a lot of games and is really talented. Victor Hurtig's played okay, as a freshman, big body freshman. But you are looking at Michael Underwood, who has a ton of experience. I mean, I just really like Nash Nienhaus has looked great this year, too. And we'll talk about him in just a little bit. But really like what we've seen from the blue line offensively. The defense can always be cleaned up a little bit, but from what looked like it could have been a disaster, it's looked, at least fair so far. And here's the last goal of the game. Board battle, just fire it on net, right? Just fire it on net and see what happens. I believe it was Nash Nienhaus here from the point. In Tiernan Shouty, I want to watch this from the beginning.
Not an easy tip to make at all.
No, and Shouty's right where you see on your screen where it says the Big Ten logo. He's just to the left of that. And what does he do? He goes straight towards the net. Board battles one, and what does he do? He positions himself right in front of the goalie, right in front of the defense. Nash Nienhaus sees, okay, there's maybe two people screening. There's 1, 2, 3 defenders that are either facing me and able to come out to the puck if they were to choose so, and another one kind of closest to him but facing the opposite direction. That guy turns around, looks like he's about to go to the point, but it doesn't matter. You have 3 players moving. Fire the puck on net. Tiernan Shouty, as you can see where I have it frozen now, his stick is just in the lane. Redirect goal, and then his second of the season for the freshman. And what I want to talk about here, Ryan, I don't know if you've noticed this or if it's just me. There's so many more redirect kind of shot passes and stuff of that nature this year than we've seen in the past. I mean, on the power play, it's almost guaranteed one time that you'll have Nico Mueller kind of drifting towards the net, receive the puck, and look for Daniel Russell for a redirect goal.
Mm-hmm.
That's a set play for them, it seems like. And the amount of redirections and tips, and it's something that I love, especially in college hockey. Get the goalies moving, just get pucks on net. Do you think that's a big emphasis going into this season, is more redirection and more trying to get the goalie moving one way and directing it to another way? Because I've never seen this many redirections or deflections from Michigan State in the past.
So I think I'm pretty confident in this. It's the way they run their offense, and positioning is something that I haven't really taken a deep dive. I haven't really thought of that much while I'm watching the game, but you can see that most of these goals over this weekend, sure, a little bit of puck luck here and there, but a lot of it was positioning. And this is Shouty being in the perfect spot. I don't know if Nash Nienhaus takes the shot, because Shouty's there. I'm assuming he's just like, you know what, screw it. I'm at the blue line. I'm gonna rip one. I'm Nash Nienhuis. But Shouty's right place, right time, and that tip is tough. Nash Nienhuis is going for that 100% slap shot to the net. He's not banking on Shouty getting that tip. So the fact that he actually did tip it and it went in from a probably like, I don't know, 85-mile-per-hour slap shot, that is not easy to do at all. But
No.
you're right. Daniel Russell, he's got himself, I think, 2 tipped goals. He's been looking really good redirecting
Including
stuff
the
into the
game
back of the
winner at
net.
Bowling Green, yeah.
Yeah, and I just think it's just a more sound offensive structure where players know where they need to be, and that's why they're getting more goals. And another thing is MSU's offense this year, I like to call it the Penn State offense of throwing the puck on net, but extremely smart. They do it when there's somebody in the lane. They do it when they could see the guy on the other side waiting for the rebound. There's a goal, I think.
Jagger Joshua had an easy putback, yeah.
There was a goal, I think, last week against Notre Dame where I forget. I think it may have been Kelly who shot it on the near side. The rebound went off the goalie to the far side, and Jagger Joshua was right there and just put it back in the net. So it's smart throw pucks on net hockey that's working because of the offensive scheme and the positioning. And players know where they need to be at all times on the ice, when they have the puck, when they don't. And it's really proven dividends for this team.
Yeah, so as we just look at kind of a recap of the top performers from this weekend, there is a typo on here. Dylan St. Cyr, 88 shots faced, 87 saves, that one goal out. I forgot to subtract. So 87 saves on 88 shots. Absolutely fantastic. I struggle with who to give the weekend award to, and I give it to Dylan St. Cyr. Even though ERIK Middendorf had four goals in that first game, I'm talking about a 2-game performance here that secured the win, only allowing 1 goal and 88 shots. Would you give it to St. Cyr, or do you go Middendorf?
So if we're talking weekend, 100% giving it to St. Cyr. I'm assuming he'll be one of the 3 stars of the Big Ten this week, if not the number 1 star.
Absolutely.
So we'll see about that. I think they release those on Mondays. But yeah, if we're talking weekend, give it to Dylan St. Cyr. He had a heck of a series. And then if we're talking Friday night, they actually announced Dylan St. Cyr as the first star and Middendorf as a second. I would have given it to Middendorf based off, hey, it was the first goals of the year for him, and he actually tied the team lead with goals in that game before Joshua got another one on Saturday night. But yeah, it's good to see Middendorf getting those goals. And St. Cyr, I mean, he wasn't faced with maybe the hardest of chances, not as many 2-on-1s as he faced last week against Notre Dame, but just technical goalie, making the saves when he needs to, and being very, very reliable for his team.
Yeah, Middendorf we've touched on. Nash Nienhuis is quickly becoming one of my favorite players. Yes. I just like the way he plays. He plays like an aesthetically pleasing game too, and I like that lefty shot from the blue line. 4 assists this weekend, 3 primary assists. Big week. I wanted to give him some love. Tanner Kelly, 2 goals, 1 assist on the weekend. Before we get you out of here, take a look at the Big Ten standings. At the top, we have Penn State 9-1, including a win Friday night over number 1 ranked Michigan, which is near the bottom of the standings. We'll get to them, but 10 points in the Big Ten for Penn State. They're looking like a wagon so far. Minnesota 7-3, 3-1 in the Big Ten, 9 points. Ohio State, who Michigan State has this week. Thursday, Friday matchup, right?
Yep.
Thursday, Friday matchup. So don't tune in Friday thinking it's game 1. Don't forget Thursday night. Ohio State tied for second with 9 points as well. Michigan State, our Spartans, 6-3-1, 2-1-1 in the Big Ten, 8 points. Notre Dame 4-4 overall, 1-2 in the Big Ten for 4 points. Michigan, near the bottom of the Big Ten. There's a little bit of an asterisk there. They've only played 1 series, but I don't care. This is how it appears. Michigan 8-2 overall after falling at Penn State, 2 points. And Wisconsin is 2-8 overall, 0-6 in the Big Ten with 0 points to show for. It's tough. I mean, it's early. We're talking right now. It's November 6th when we're recording, and Wisconsin feels like they're out of it already. We know that feeling as Spartan fans watching the hockey team the past few years. it's really difficult to come back when you drop your first 6. And
Yeah.
even if you just win, I mean, it's the idea of we've played 6 and we have not shown that we can win 1. And especially this weekend when I mean, I know they got a lot of shots and whatnot, but at the end of the day, when you look up at the scoreboard and you see 5-0, 5-1, it's got to be tough on the players' confidence.
Oh, yeah. And I'll flip the script for Michigan State. Last season, going into conference play, they had the similar record, but conference didn't really treat them nicely. We'll say that, but they're 6-3-1. They're 2-1-1 in the Big Ten, and I think they should be ranked. They're definitely going to get a lot of votes. I think they're going to be ranked after this because if you look, they took care of business against Wisconsin, 10-1 on the weekend between the two teams, and I mean, sure, some of them were puck luck, but 2 dominant performances. Even though you let up 88 shots, a lot of power play time, little asterisk there, but Michigan State looking good. I'm not jumping the gun and saying, holy crap, Michigan State's going to finish top 3 in the Big Ten. Pump the brakes, timeout. Like I said last year, they looked good with non-conference and beginning of their conference, and then it went downhill with some injuries. But we won't talk about that this year. Michigan State might be ranked against Ohio State, may be a ranked matchup this weekend. So that's definitely something to look forward to.
Michigan State currently 15th in the pairwise rankings.
There we go.
Ryan, before we get you out, one more time, where can we find you? When's the next Behind the Mask dropping?
Should be dropping Wednesday around noon. We're on Spotify. If you go to impact89fm.org, that's our radio station's website. We got everything there. We got recaps, we got previews, we got the Behind the Mask posted there. Follow me over there. That's where I am. Yeah, over there somewhere. Mm-hmm. Follow the Jacobs. We try to do a lot of good work and get a lot of MSU hockey content out for you guys because we know it's not the biggest sport on campus, obviously, but yeah, just give it a listen. And if you got some criticism, give it to us. We want to get better. We want to grow. We want to do a better job on the show. So just let us hear it. I'm all ears.
You'll do such a good job. I'm not just saying that. I listen in, and there's a lot of times I was like, well, shit, man, I wish I would have said that, or you all pull stats. But hey, in this world of Michigan State hockey and us putting out podcasts, there's really only like you all and me, and I don't really. Jeremy Dewar does some on occasion as well. There's not a ton, so I'm sure you can. We're not competitors because there's plenty of time to fit in maybe a total of an hour and a half of your entire week. So. More than happy to try to get anyone that's listening to me that does not listen to you to tune into your old stuff as well. But thank you so much, Ryan, for joining us. I'm gonna have to get the Jacobs on the show. Maybe I'll see if they can do next or this upcoming weekend's review, or you know what? Maybe I'll try to get one on for the preview, one on for the recap. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But thank you so much, man. And
no problem.
I look forward to the games this weekend.
Yeah, we'll see if MSU fares against a ranked Ohio State team.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, that's it for this week's episode. There should be a preview episode coming out this week. I'm traveling for work, so with it being a Thursday game, it might be tough. But regardless, we will have a recap. Thank you, everyone. Please like and subscribe as well and tell a friend and go green.